Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today I was playing with the Play It Jewel palette from ColourPop. This is one of their newer mega palettes, not the newest, but one of their newer ones. And it's really pretty. I love all the jewel tone colors. If you watched my ColourPop ranking video, you'll know that I did not rank this palette because I hadn't tried it yet. And I was thinking that after I had made some tutorials using it, I may customize this palette a little bit by pulling out some of the more similar neutral shades and adding in some more interesting shades by my tastes. But I haven't done that yet. This is as you would get it from the company, and I did this halo eye look. So if you'd like to see how I did this, then stick around and I'll show you. And if you haven't been here before, hello, welcome. My name is Rachel. I'm just a homeschooling stay-at-home mom who loves playing with colorful eyeshadow. So if you like tutorials and rankings and comparisons and anything like that within the eyeshadow realm, I hope you will consider liking and subscribing. Feel free to comment below with suggestions or maybe palettes that you'd like to see if I happen to have. Don't forget that you can find me on Instagram at Shimmers and Silver. Now let's get into this tutorial. Alright, I'm going to prime my eyes using the NYX primer in white. I recently mentioned that I tried the Glamlight Icing Primer and it blew me away because of how well it prevented creasing. The reason that since I bought that primer I have been using this other primer, the NYX primer in white, is because I don't have hardly any creasing with ColourPop shadows, but I have a lot of creasing with Beauty Bay and some Glamlight, particularly the shimmers that are a little less powdery and more like putty. Those are the ones that crease more on me. So I've decided that since I still have this NYX primer in white, I'm going to use it with my ColourPop shadows just to use it up, because I still have like a good amount left in my pot. I think it's about half full. And I don't experience very unpleasant creasing with ColourPop shadows, so I can use this primer for that brand, and then I'll save the icing primer for the brands that really crease on me. So in case you were curious, like I did say in my last video, I think that I really was very impressed by the Glamlight Icing Primer, and it really helped with creasing, and then I went and used a different primer. So I watched that video while editing and I was like, I should probably have explained why I wasn't using the primer that I was raving about. Okay, I have decided to do a halo eye today. This is my second time using the Play It Jewel palette, and with the mega palettes, especially the multicolored ones, you really have to take a moment and decide, okay, what family of colors would I like to stay within? And you can absolutely skip around, but I tend to mix warm and cool undertones together, and it doesn't always look very great. So I like to take a moment and plan out the look before I dip in. I think I'm going to stay generally around this area today. I've had a lot of green eyeshadow looks lately, and I don't want to do anything green. So I think I'm going to start with this shade right here. It's called Uncut. And I'm going to wipe that all over my lid as like a transition color for whatever else I lay down next. Alright, so starting with the shade Uncut on a medium fluffy blending brush, I'm going to place this in my outer crease. And then I'm just going to, it's going to be a transition color, so I'm going to blend it all the way through and out. And I think today, because I always do that cat eye shape, I think today, just to challenge myself, I'm going to try to round out my outer corner a little bit. So I'm not going to wing it out this way like I always do. I'm going to try to keep it a little bit more round. I don't think I've ever done that intentionally, so I have to force myself not to pull out the outer corner in like an upwards angle. I'm placing this in my crease, blending it nicely and blending it up towards my brow bone. And then when I get to this outer corner, I'm just doing circles like this. And because I'm using a bigger brush, I don't need to be at the outer corner and then blending, because that's going to pull the color way out here because it's such a large brush. I'm really like about here, like 3/4 of the way into my crease. And I'm blending there, and the big bristles, they're splaying out and creating that that rounded shape. This is my very base color, and then I'm going to deepen it up and then add in the, the halo eye effects. And I might cut my crease, like cut the center today. I haven't really decided. Okay, now I'm taking a very slightly smaller blending brush and I'm dipping into the shade Craft right here. Reminding myself that I can always go back in and add more. I'm going to put this in my crease. I'm going to place it slightly lower than the shade which I just placed down and blend it all the way up. This one's not going to go as high, so I'm starting it in the same area, like starting it in the crease and just kind of blending in the crease area. I don't want to blow it out. And again, working in circles at that outer corner. Whatever color you do here, if you're not following along with this tutorial, but you're just doing a halo eye in general, whatever color you do here, you just want a slightly deeper color than your original shade to help with the gradient. This is kind of a different technique for me, doing a halo eye, but I've done a few halo eyes now in different styles, and I just haven't quite found one that I love. The last couple that I've done, I didn't really do much of a transition color, or let me think. Two halo eyes ago, I didn't do any transition color. I just jumped right in with the outer and inner corner color and then sort of blended those out. But what that left me with was a very naked patch in the center and kind of naked patch up here. And I didn't love that. So the next time I did a halo eye, I did a transition color, but I think it was just one color. And it was a little bit better because my eyes didn't look strangely bald in the center. But I think I wanted to try, because I love gradient eyeshadow, I think I just wanted to try something that added in more depth and interest. And so today I'm doing two transition colors before I even start the corners of the halo eye. Because I love to learn, and I love eyeshadow, and I want to improve how I do it. Okay, now I'm taking a small blending brush, and I'm dipping into the shade Mosaic. And I wanted to bring in a slightly more berry tone, so I'm just gently dipping into the pan, and I'm going to place this in my outer and inner corners. I'm going to go in very lightly at first. That reminds me of Amanita from At Forest Sight. I'm going to cover about the first third of my inner corner, and then I'm going to go do the outer corner and cover the outer third. Always keeping that rounded shape. I'm going to grab that blending brush I used before and just really gently go over these edges. I'm going to deepen this out a little bit more, I think, but not yet. Now I think I'm going to cut my crease, like cut the center. So I've placed some concealer on my hand and I've got a small flat shader brush. I'm dipping into the concealer. And then I'm going to place that shader brush right in the center of my eyelid and kind of create a defined line in the crease area. This obviously is much more contrasted if you have a very dark crease. Which I don't today, but that's okay. I'm just bringing that concealer all the way down to my lash line. It looks a little bit stripy right now, but we'll blend it out in a bit and make it look less crazy. That was my husband's alarm. I had said we will blend it out in a little bit and make it look less crazy. It's okay if this is not perfect because I'm going to add shadows to these edges right here and just transition it all together. Okay, now I am dipping back in with a small blending brush. I'm going to go into this peachy shade up here, I Got You. I'm going to use this to transition the dark purple into the light color. So what I'm doing is I'm just placing it on the very edge of the purple. And it's just going to help me blend into that light tone. Alright, I like that transition, but I decided I want the corners to be just slightly darker. So with the same brush, I'm now dipping into Surreal, which is this dark eggplant tone, and pretty lightly because I don't want to have to place it and then blend it a ton, because if I blend it a ton it's going to change these colors. So I'm going in very lightly and I'm just adding it to the absolute deepest part of these external or the extreme outer corners. Because I have pretty mediocre lighting, you probably can't see this on camera. I'll be honest, I cannot really see it right here. Not really. But I know that I'm doing it, so when I go out in sunlight, I'm sure it'll be much more visible. Alright, now it's time for shimmer on that center area. I'm going to take my finger and dip into the shade Relic. It's this bronzy tone over here. I find that ColourPop shimmers work very nicely with your finger. So I've dipped in with my finger and I'm just going to place that on the very center of my lid. This is like ColourPop's Lucky Penny collection, all-in-one shadow. I'm always a little bit nervous when I combine colors for a halo eye, like to do a different colored spotlight, because it's just a very obvious thing. It's not like blending different colors together. Like it's color, different color, color. And I just get nervous because sometimes I don't have the most confidence in my color choosing skills. But I think that's pretty. I knew the colors would work well together. It's just, I now have to make it not look silly in like a spotlight version. I'm going to take a flat shader brush and dip into that same color, like this. I'm not spraying it, and I'm just gonna bring it up a little bit higher and carry it out to those purple edges. This just gives me a bit more precision than my fingertip did. Okay, I ended up running upstairs to take care of my baby, but I'm back now. I'm going to take a small blending brush that I used before. I'm going to dip back into the Agate U shade, which is that peachy matte we used up here. I'm going to color switch the blending brush first because I don't want to take that dark purple and carry it anywhere else. So I'm dipping lightly into the Agate U shade, and then I'm just going to help transition that matte into the lighter toned shimmer. So again, placing it, this time I'm going to place it on the edge of the shimmer and blend it out towards the matte. Once that's blended in nicely, I'm going to do the very same thing with the slightly darker color. So I went back into Mosaic, which was the second darkest purple that we placed down, and I'm going to do the very same thing, just carrying that dark color towards the shimmer, and I'm just trying to help everything blend together smoothly and not have very big, bold points of transition. You have to keep in mind that formula likes to blend with like formula. So shimmer wants to blend with shimmer and matte wants to blend with matte. And if you're blending shimmer and matte together, you have to try to find a color match because then the transition is not as stark. Okay, I'm liking how this is looking, so I'm going back into my finger and I'm going to dip into Reflect On. I really want this to just make a pop of brightness at the center of my halo eye, more so than simply a halo eye. So on my finger, I'm just going to dip it in the very middle of my eyelid, on top of that bronze shade. Not only does it add a slightly different tone, a little more contrast, but it also brightens up that center area. So wherever I look, the light is going to catch that foremost point and make the eye pop. I'm not really putting a lot of effort into blending that into the other shimmer because first off, I'm working in a very small space here. So they're just gonna have to be immediate friends. And honestly, they kind of are because they're both shimmers. It's the same formula and they're close enough colors that this one just adds a little bit of height to the lower, deeper color. That's better. Okay, I'm gonna put a little concealer on my under eyes and then I'll be back to finish up the lower lash line. Alright, time for the lower lash line. I had considered doing a very different color underneath. like a bright blue or a bright purple, but I don't think I will. I think I'm just gonna mirror underneath what I did up top. So I'm taking a pinched, relatively small blending brush, and I'm dipping into the original transition shade we used, which was the Uncut Peachy shade. And I'm gonna run this on my entire lower lash line. And one thing I'm making sure I do is connect it to this outer corner area, which, like, usually I have a cat eye shape and I might want to keep it more crisp. This time I'm not keeping it crisp, I'm just letting it all blend in together, and I will enhance that later as I deepen out the colors. But this is my transition color for under the lash line. Now I'm going into my small blending brush and I'm going to dip into the first purple that we used, which is called Mosaic. I'm going to place this, again, just mirroring what I did above. So I'm going to place it in my outer corner and make sure that I meet up at that outer rounded area and stop about where it stops. About here, you see. I'm going to pull it in a little bit more, I think. I am going to put it on the inner corner, but not using this brush. This brush is too big for the inner corner. I'm going to take a very small pencil brush and dip into Mosaic to do this inner corner. I don't think I've ever done a halo eye quite like this before. I know for sure I haven't like mimicked the lower lash line in a halo eye. I usually just do its own thing, but gotta hurry up because my phone battery's dying. This is a flat angled brush. I'm dipping into the shimmer shade that we used called Relic, and I'm gonna place that on the center, right between the two colors. And then right on top of that, I'm placing Reflect On, just like we did above. See? Matches. Matchy matchy. Okay, now I'm gonna grab a bright plummy highlighter. I think this is Plum Smash from ColourPop. And I'm gonna line my waterline. I also have a beautiful marigold colored eyeliner. This is Can Do It, also from ColourPop. And this one I think I'm going to place right above the shimmer. So I'm actually gonna wipe it off my waterline there a little bit and place the marigold on the floor. And then place it. Placing it on the floor is a crucial step. Place the marigold color in the center above that shimmer. Oh yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that's neat. Okay, that's neat. So if you can see on my waterline, which you may not be able to because of my camera, but I've got plum here, marigold, and then plum out again here. That just carries it all through. Okay, my camera's going to die soon, so I'm going to turn it off and finish up my other eye. I'm also going to add a black eyeliner up top and some mascara, and then I'll come back at the end to show you the finished product. Okay, here's the finished look. I did not do a winged eyeliner because I wanted to keep it sort of smoky, so I just did a black eyeliner on the upper lash line and then ended it at my lashes. A little bit of face product and some lip oil from ColourPop, and that's everything. Oh, mascara, and that's everything. I really enjoyed making this look. I had fun trying a different technique for the halo eye, and I think that I like the end result better. It's a little bit more work, a couple extra steps, but I think that at the end of the day, the final result is a little bit better. So, and I have to say that I love the two-toned eyeliner, like the waterline thing going on, where I did purple, yellow, purple, and that was really fun. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video and this tutorial and this eyeshadow look. Let me know in the comments below if you follow along and do it yourself. Please tag me on social media if you do, because I'd love to see that. And until I see you again, have a wonderful day. Bye! Dropping my mirror, which is the Agate You Peachy shade. No, it's not. I take it back. I take it back.